What's up everybody? It's Rock from Smoke Q. So we're always putting delicious meats on the smoker, so I thought why not change it up today? I'm gonna show you how to make this smoked mango chutney. It pairs great with pork, with chicken, and heck, even throw it on a burger for something a little bit different. So come on, let's check this one out. To get started, I begin by cutting some large mangoes into quarters so that I can eventually remove the inner pit from them. I'll be honest, this was a rather difficult part for me as I've never really worked with fresh mangoes, but I found that going gently and slowly kind of did the trick, and I got most of that delicious mango meat separated from that inner pit so that I could eventually put the 4 quarters on the smoker to impart some smoke flavor into them. Now, while I did use mangoes for this recipe, you can certainly substitute other tropical fruits like pineapples or things of that nature if you want to go with a little bit different flavor profile. With the mango cut, I then grabbed a red onion, cut it in half so that I could get it on the smoker as well. With both of those prepared, I threw the mango quarters as well as that half a red onion on the smoker at 225 with super smoke turned on for about 20 minutes. This helps create some layered flavors when I eventually put this entire chutney together. Now, while the mangoes and the onion are on the smoker, I prepared some of the other ingredients. First, I started with a couple cloves of garlic. After removing them, I used my knife to crush them and peel them before I dice finely to eventually put them in a medium-sized cast iron pan, which is where I'm going to prepare this entire chutney. Next, I grabbed some fresh ginger root, and using a grater, I grated off the interior of the ginger root, placing that into a cast iron pan as well. Next, I grabbed a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, getting that into the cast iron pan. The last ingredient to measure out before getting the mango and the red onion off the smoker is some of this red wine vinegar. Here I'm using a 1/4 cup and adding that to the cast iron pan as well. So with those 4 ingredients added, I was ready to pull off the red onion from the smoker and dice it up into fine bits to eventually add to the mixture. Starting by cutting off one of the ends, I then make some slices before dividing through the half, and then using a rocking motion, I dice up the entire red onion, of which I'm going to use maybe about half of it, as it was a fairly large red onion. And when I do dice it, I just place it in a bowl and set it aside so that I can use the desired amount after I get my mangoes chopped up. And with that, I'm ready for the mangoes. So, I first start by getting one of those quarters off of the smoker and then carefully removing the skin before dicing into small chunks. What I'm going for is maybe 1 inch by 1 inch cubes, or something even a little bit smaller, since I want the mangoes to break down into the mixture once I get them on the heat. For this recipe, I'm going for a slightly chunky mango chutney, but this is definitely an option where you can cut these chunks into very small bits, very large bits, whatever you kind of want to do. The smaller bits are going to give you a smoother chutney, and really if you want something very smooth, you can take this at the very end after you cook it down and place the final product into a blender to really get at that smooth, consistent consistency. But now that I've got all 4 mangoes quartered and off the smoker, I chopped up into the pan, I add my desired amount of red onion before eventually taking it over to the Traeger induction top. Here's where I turn it up on a high heat to get all of these 6 ingredients of the chutney into a low boil. What I'm looking for here is to heat up this entire mixture so that the flavors kind of meld together, but also to get all those juices to break down so it transitions from an individual chunky mix into somewhat more of what I'd call a watery mix. This is from the mangoes, the onions, the ginger, the garlic, all breaking down into the other liquids that I added. After bringing it to a boil, I'm going to let it simmer for roughly 20 minutes until I get to that desired thickness and I'm ready to pull it off the heat. When I prepared this recipe, I was planning to use it for a later pork dish that I was making, so I grabbed a glass ball jar and then using a wooden spoon, I transported it from that hot cast iron into this glass ball jar. Eventually, I put it in the fridge so that I could use it later on that night. Now, with this chutney, it's something that I prepare often, and when I put it in the fridge with a lid on it, it'll stay for a couple weeks since I'm jarring it hot. That'll keep all the bacteria out and make it good to eat, like I said, for a couple weeks at least. All right, guys, that's it. This is a great recipe, like I said, for pork, and I use it on other things like chicken, but the real game changer, I've grabbed this and put it on a burger. And I'm telling you, I was kind of skeptical the first time I did this, but I actually created a whole different flavor profile on that burger when we used it. So I'd say, heck, give that one a try. If you're still here, I can't thank you enough. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you can see all the latest backyard creations.